to the entertaining Talkin' Sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video as I'm going to recap the 11th game of the year for the New York Giants, where they dropped to 2-9, and this was a game that they should have won. It was a game going in that I thought they could have won going into Chicago, a team that has been one of the most disappointing teams in football this year, who needed this win if they wanted any hope to stay in, moderate contention for the playoffs, and they got it. It was a game that they shouldn't have won, though. They played horrible, specifically in the first half. Mitch Trubisky finished at 25 for 41, 278 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Could have easily thrown 3. Julian Love, which was a bright spot in the game, came up with his first interception, almost had 2 in the game. He's playing center field in that one pick. He was able to come up with it. But the first half, the Giants completely dominated on both sides of the line of scrimmage. The offensive line got a great push. We didn't establish much of a ground game, but we stuck to the ground game with Saquon Barkley. Barkley continues to look not like himself. He had at least 3 or 4 carries where he lost at least 3 or 4 yards. Had a lot of negative carries. He had 2 really good runs. One specifically late in the game where he had a beautiful run down the right sideline. Looked like the Barkley of old, but he still does not look like he's completely himself. He also dropped a pass in the first half where he had one guy that he would have had to make miss to score a touchdown out in the flat, so certainly didn't help out his quarterback there. Daniel Jones overall, the stats say he played well, 21 of 36 against a team like this for 150 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, made a great throw late in the game where he hit Golden Tate for a touchdown. He also hit the backup tight end Smith on a play-action pass where he hit Smith there in the corner of the end zone. So Jones was hit or miss for me because he did have a crucial fumble, which I'm not going to fully put on him. Solder, who I thought actually did a pretty good job in this game overall, but in a crucial moment, deep in their own territory, Solder surrendered a sack to Khalil Mack, which forced a fumble, and they scored a touchdown. That continues to be a problem for Daniel Jones. Every game he has a fumble, and they actually didn't get into the end zone on that play, but they got it. They were covered at like the 4 or 5 yard line. It was very reminiscent of the play against the Jets the week before where Jamal Adams ripped it out of his hands and scored a touchdown there deep in their own territory. So Jones continues to have fumbling problems. I think it's his 10th of the year. But overall, he played a pretty solid game when you factor in the defense that he was going up against. Ground game, like I said, we averaged 5.2 yards a carry, but that was due in large part to Daniel Jones having 2 long runs, one which I think was about 20 yards. He had 2 carries for 27 yards. He also made another great play where he was able to avoid the sack. I think it was might have been on the touchdown drive where he made a spin move to get out of a sack. So Jones was okay, hit or miss. The defense, Corey Ballantyne, I don't want to get too much on him. He's a 6th-round rookie. He's a 6th-rounder for a reason. He's a guy that we're all rooting for, obviously, when he had the, his friend got killed, right, the day that he was drafted, the night that he was drafted. So we were all rooting for him. But Corey Ballantyne today looked completely mismatched, and they were picking on him all day in the slot, whether it be Allen Robinson, whether it be Anthony Miller. Both of those receivers combined for over 200 yards in the air, and it was done, for the most part, in the slot. Corey Ballantyne was getting picked apart the entire game. They could not stop them. The run defense played pretty well. Dalvin Tomlinson continues to play well. I say the same thing every week. Leonard Williams got some decent pressure on a few plays up the middle, but overall, Ogletree had a nice pick deep in their own end zone, deep in the red zone, rather, which saved us from giving up 3 points. But this is a game we had to win, and Aldrick Rosas continues to have struggles. He misses 2 crucial field goals. If he makes those field goals, we win the football game. 20-19, he's got to hit his kicks. No excuses. And Pat Shurmur, at the end of the game, it was like deja vu. It was like the Jet game all over again. How do you call all 3 timeouts before the 3.5-minute mark? How do you do it? You make it so it's the last drive, and they couldn't challenge a play from 3:30 to 2 minutes. It's inexcusable. I don't understand it. It's like he's trying to get fired. Like, what is Pat? I want to root for Pat. I want stability in this organization, and I don't want to end up with a guy like Jason Garrett. But Pat is making it incredibly hard on himself. How do you call those timeouts? And I'm sure his excuse is going to be, we had a chance to win, just like they did against the Jets. We had the ball with 3. Well, first off, and it was OGR brought up the point during the Jet game, and it's the same point here. You can't challenge a play from the 3:40 mark now till the 2-minute mark because you have no challenges. So what if there was a play that came up in that spot where you need to challenge it? So I could let you get by if you call two of the timeouts, but to call all 3 in that situation is inexcusable. Inexcusable. And I don't understand it. I don't understand it at all. Pat Shurmur's done a horrible job with clock management late in these games. I'm not going to put the loss on him. I thought he showed some good innovation there in the first half. Second half, what left a lot to be desired, but the Bears did get a lot of pressure. He called that great end around pass, end around run to Sterling Shepard. That was a really innovative play where it was the RPO, faked the run to Barkley. It looked like Jones was going to take off and run with it, and then he handed it to Shepard, which resulted in about a 15-yard game. So he showed some innovation in this game. But overall, Shurmur does a horrible job again at the end of the game with the clock management, and the Chicago Bears win 19-14. Trubisky still played horrible. Robinson was their best player with the 131 yards and the touchdown. In terms of the standings, I guess the silver lining, like I said last week, the Giants get lucky, and the Washington Redskins at home beat up a banged-up Detroit Lions team 19-16. So they now jump the Giants in the draft standings. They have the same record, but the Giants hold the tiebreaker with the strength of schedule. So the Giants will now hold the number 2 spot with 5 weeks to play. They, of course, will play the Redskins down the stretch, but this loss pretty much cements the Giants at worst getting a top 4 pick. The Miami Dolphins, of course, lost today as well. The Giants' remaining schedule now will be the Green Bay Packers, the Philadelphia Eagles twice, and they will play the 2 bottom teams in the Dolphins and the Redskins. I can't see them winning more than 3 of those games, and that's if everything breaks right. That's if the Eagles have nothing to play for, which they very well may not at this point, especially that last game of the season. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. The Eagles are not playing very good. It's possible the Giants split with them, and they certainly could win the Redskin or even the Miami Dolphin game. Obviously, those are the 3 worst teams at football right now. So other than the Bengals, who have not won a contest yet this year. So the Giants have a chance to win those 2 games along with one of the Eagles' games. They're not beating the Packers. And if I'm being honest, it's hard-pressed for me to see them winning more than 4 contests. And they're certainly going to be in the race for Chase. Chase Young, that is the pass rusher out of Ohio State. That's the silver lining from this loss, a game in which the New York Giants should have absolutely won. There's no excuses not to win this game. Between the Eldrick Rose's missed kicks, between the offense just mishandling everything, and Corey Ballantyne just getting completely demolished there in the slot. But this was a game that was there for the taking. The Giants should have been up by a lot more than they were at the half, and they let it squander away, and the Bears get a much-needed win to try to stay somewhat in contention. But that's all I got for you guys today. Another disappointing loss for the Giants, as we got 5 games left in this horror show of a season. And then we're on to the offseason with free agency and the draft. As always, if you like what you watch, please subscribe, drop a comment, maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.